Hey, this is Chris. Keeping it real, facts over electronics. I bought a new, to me, computer, a laptop. And just want to tell you a little bit about it. It's a ThinkPad, Lenovo ThinkPad P50. This particular model was made in 2016. So it's about a 5-year-old machine. Get this thing straight here. I never buy new technology, mainly because it's a waste. I mean, what I like to do instead of buying new technology is buy proven models that were top of the line when they were first sold, and so that's what I generally do. And so I had a ThinkPad T530, which was made in 2011, and I've had that machine for probably 5 years. It still runs, it still works. About a year and a half ago, the cats knocked it off of my little futon, and it no longer would turn on with the AC cord plugged in. I took it apart trying to figure out what happened, and something got loose. I don't know what happened to it, but it seemed to still be running fine. I put a solid state drive in it, put a little extra memory in it. And I thought it was pretty good until I got this new one, and I saw how much faster it re-encoded videos. And it was like, okay, it wasn't quite as fast as I thought it was. It was still fine. It's still fine for everyday work, but we have a terrible internet connection as far as uploads go. We use our Verizon hotspots for that, and I can't upload a regular size video. It just takes all day, literally. And so just as a matter of a means of comparison, my T530 would generally encode a video at approximately, usually like 20 to 25 frames per second. And so I was really curious to see how much better the P50 would do, and it encodes videos at around 80 frames per second. So it's about 4 times faster than the T530 was in that regard, and so that alone makes it worth it. I hope this guy's not going to pull out. Okay, he's not. So it's got a 500 gigabyte solid state drive, which is nice, and it has room for 2 more drives, which is really nice. And so and they're easy to get to. Basically the whole bottom panel comes off, and so all I need to do is get a couple of little adapters, and I can add a regular 2.5 inch hard drive and another M-SATA, one of those skinny ones, that plugs into the slot. Looks like a wireless card. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. Now that might have something to do with how much faster it is, but I think it's really just the processor, because you're talking about a processor that's 5 years newer. And like I said, when it sold, it is like you can still get the T-Series ThinkPads, but they don't have the kind of hardware capabilities that the P-Series had. It's the professional level. You can do CAD work on it if you want to. I'm not going to, but I could if I wanted to. It's nice to have. It's got an NVIDIA graphics card and an Intel video graphics card, and so you can switch between the two as you need it. And so, if you don't need the power and you don't want the thing to get hot, although it really hasn't gotten hot yet, you can turn on the Intel graphics, and it's still great graphics, especially if you're just watching videos or something like that. But if you need some real more powerful graphics, I can always switch it over to the NVIDIA card. It's got a 15-inch screen. It's got an entire separate keyboard to the right, so it's a little bit, I'm still getting used to the keyboard. Usually when you get a keyboard, it's kind of centered in the body of the laptop, and this one, the part that I use the most, which is the keyboard part, not the number keyboard part, whatever you call that, is shifted to the left. And so the touchpad shifted to the left, the track point shifted to the left, and so I'm getting used to it though. It's just when you type on a regular keyboard for so long, and then you get used to where your hands are in relationship to the edges of the machine, and that dimension changes. It takes a little while to get used to, but I'm getting used to it just fine. It's got a really nice screen, 1920 by 1080, so it's a 1080p screen. Nice and bright, great color. What else? It's not it's thinner than my T530 was, and the T series laptops are not known for being super thin, but they are thinner than your typical business laptops, like from HP or Dell. Although I guess they're all getting thinner these days, right? The only thing I don't like is they used to have this thing called an Ultra Bay. I have that in my T530, and the nice thing about an Ultra Bay is it goes where the CD-ROM or the DVD ROM, and it slides into a space in the side of the computer. And so that was very handy, because you could take a hard drive in one of those Ultra Bay adapters and stick it in there, and then just slide the thing into the side of the computer. Made backing up things a whole lot easier. Now I'm going to have to go back to, hooking up a USB cable and doing all that stuff. But that's a really minor issue. And besides, since there are 2 more hard drive slots, I can always put in, and probably what I will do is just get a really large mechanical, like whatever the biggest size of hard drives it makes these days. Maybe like 2 or 3 terabyte hard drive, and stick it in there and just back everything up to that. I think, the sound is so much better. It's funny, the T530 has some fairly large speakers, but the sound has always been, it's never been loud. And I don't know if that was just a defect. I mean, it worked, but you really had to, if you really wanted to hear something, you had to have headphones. The sound on this one is great. It's got a really thin, almost looks like somebody took a sound bar and mounted it into the chassis, and it is really loud. Lee keeps telling me to put my headphones in now, and she never used that up before. So I know it's loud, and it's good stereo sound too, and it's it's not really bassy, but it works well. It's so much better than my T530. The battery life is good. I haven't really tested it to see how long it lasts, but come to think of it, but I've left it on overnight. It's still on when I get up in the morning, so but it's not doing anything. But still, I think that's about it. It takes a big power adapter. It's like a 230 watt power adapter. So that's a lot of juice. But when you start needing to run, heavy duty programs, you need some heavy duty power to run it. So I think that's it. So the only downside to the computer, it's a great computer, great sound, great screen. Lack of that Ultra Bay is somewhat, but I understand why they made the decision, because does anybody really use DVD drives anymore? No, I don't think they do, and it's not worth keeping if nobody's using it. Of course, this was 5 years ago, right? That they made this. So now I'm going to Lee. Lee looked at it. She likes it. I'm not going to get her that one, but I'm going to get her something because she doesn't need a workstation. She just gets on the computer to get on the internet, talk to everybody, and have Zoom chats and things of that nature. So, and watch YouTube videos and get patterns for her crochet ideas. So she doesn't need something quite so souped up. I'll probably get her like an X1 or something really light. I had one for a while, but it was a piece of, it just didn't work, and it was just because it was worn out. But when it did work, it worked great. So I think that's what I'm going to get her, so she can have something nice and lightweight to carry around when she goes on trips. All right, got any questions or comments? Need any computer advice? I did run a business for a while, and so I know a little bit. I haven't really kept up the last couple years, but I don't think things have changed quite that much. Leave your questions and comments in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do. We'll see you on the next computerized video.